All right, man, here we go. Let me just paste this. I don't know who's going to show up. I posted it on Instagram.
You
I
shoot
feel
me a
like. What'd you say?
you shoot me a link to the or no, I just go to the YouTube like duh. Whew, I'm gonna be sharp today.
Are you giving Carrie instructions?
No. Carrie is so tired of hearing my voice. Like I can't even tell you. She's she's like I feel bad because like she gets like no attention at all during the day, but yet I'm always around. It's almost like a really fucking annoying ghost that only speaks in marketing buzzwords. Hey.
Are you giving Carrie instructions? That's pretty
No.
funny.
All right, Carrie's so tired. I gotta mute. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. We're good to go. Oh man. Okay. I just feel like this is gonna be fun to draw because I think one of the funniest things that you and I talk about is cars that everyone hates, and I feel like that's one of the best like automotive like subjects. Period. That's
And
always been my favorite
everybody
thing.
loves to hate
I know, but why? Like,
because
why do we
everybody
care
loves
so
to,
much about what bad decisions other people are making with their cars?
because customizing a car is personal. So and you want your personal opinion validated. So when you see someone going against your personal opinion, you're like immediately like, ugh, how can they? It's like music taste or food. It's like, how do they not understand? You're ruining the handling of that vehicle. So I think there's a certain type of person who hates custom cars. Like I've never met a stance bro or a bro truck guy that like hates other things. Like there's definitely the V8 Ricer divide, but that's like almost past at this point.
I was gonna say that's very late '90s to even
Yeah,
reference.
I mean, I've never. The thing is, like most people that are driving around in like stance cars or bro trucks are just living their best life, and it's really the internet that's like, oh, don't they even realize what they're doing? So the phrase "haters gonna hate" is definitely alive and real.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier. I feel like automotive decisions are the next thing up from like your fashion choices to define like who you are to the outside world.
I mean, the car guys. I mean, how many people do we meet that are driving around and they're like, couldn't even name what their car is. They just know it's a brand.
Well, Kristen will be really happy to hear you say that because I ran this take by her. She's like, I don't know, maybe. I don't really think about anyone's car at any point.
It's really only car guys, and then a slice of car guys that know what's going on, and then a slice of that care about what other people are doing, and then a slice of that who are vocal enough to like hop online and share their opinion. So it's an extremist community for sure. I mean, I've always looked at it like that because, like,
Yeah.
as a writer, I wrote for S3, and like our job was to like show all sides of the custom life, and like I never did write a bro truck article, but a lot of what I did do was try to find something kooky and different.
I forgot I wrote for that magazine. That was like that's right up there with Super Street.
It is now. I mean, it's still in print too. Like print's not dead; they're still kicking.
um,
And
yeah.
yeah, like the outlook was always like super positive from the S3 side, whereas I think even growing up, when I was reading Super Street, it was always like very because Japanese cars were the underdog.
Yeah.
It had to forge its own snobby community. So like it all started as fun and games, and then it went to big wings and Bomex, and then the the snapback of that was like JDM and OEM Plus, and then the snapback for that was Stance and Bozuzuku and Rat and drifting, and now all the cultures are kind of colliding back together again.
Yeah. That's
Because
very
like
interesting.
when it became too popular to have a Bomex body kit, it's like no, I've been watching Initial D and getting down with Japanese drifting, so that I'm not about that life anymore.
Yeah.
And now there's like a turn back to like circuit racing with like um, God, what's it called? Grid Life, and where these people are like, nah, drifting and all that stuff's played out. We're gonna go become real racers. So it's all going back to what they were rebelling against. What's that phrase? You
Oh,
live long enough to
yeah,
see
live long enough
yourself
to
as a
see
villain.
yourself become the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's very apt in this case. That's a really good point. I feel like that it's interesting to think about the fact that I don't know when I think of like all of the automotive subculture like things that I dislike. Really, I mean, you made a good point. Like the only thing that really bothers me are people that like post opinions and have takes that are like specifically meant just to troll, which I think is everybody's just general issue with the internet that not enough people cop to. Like
Yeah,
if somebody has a genuine love of something and I think it's dumb personally, like I never feel attacked by their decisions, but like I think it only becomes an issue when um it's like it's obviously purposely there just to instigate a thing. That's what
yeah.
bugs
But
me.
I mean, that makes Stance funny because it's almost like doing it for the lulz is like Stance's reason to exist. It is the Joker to the performance Batman in that, like in the 80s, like Stance has like a bunch of different influences that have kind of collapsed on the term stance. Like
Yeah,
the whole poke thing was 70s and 80s German cars rebelling against the German rule that your tires couldn't go past the wheel wells.
wait, really?
So it didn't know anything about the wheel. So what they would do is they would just stretch the sidewall of the tire and poke it out. So
Huh.
the wheel would be well past the fender or the wheel well, but the tires wouldn't. So it was like a subtle fuck you to the rules. And then there's Japanese Bozuzuku, which is also like a rebellion against like very tied down norms and culture in terms of tuning, like very much like the rat rod in
Mhm.
American Hot Rod. And then there's just like VIP and bags and outrageous wheel combos. And I think the icing on the cake has kind of been like as cars have become more complex to tune, and this is a theory we were talking about at S3, like as cars became more complex and more expensive to modify with
Yeah,
like less actualized gains, it made more sense to kind of just throw a big set of expensive wheels and slam it on the ground to make a statement
totally.
instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars for minute performance gains.
Mhm.
Because
I
like
think that makes
even
a lot of sense.
huh?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, stance is like yeah, but it's still like for the lulls because they're it's not fun to drive a stance car.
Yeah.
You're rubbing everywhere and you're gonna slam your oil pan on the ground and you're gonna have zip tied bumpers and it's expensive to look stupid sometimes.
I agree.
But
I still
I remember
remember leaving my bumper on the side of the road in Chicago when I was trying to like back up in a very small incline on my stupid E30. It just had like a Volvo bumper on the bottom, a little valence, and that just got yanked right off, and that got zip tied back later that afternoon.
yeah, you were stancing before it was cool. I remember the epic flame threads because there was like the stance boys on Vortex and the performance boys, and then it all went down in the car lounge and still does to this day in many respects. But like,
Your understanding of internet forums will never cease to amaze me.
I am so burnt. If I had as much knowledge of the stock market as I do of like internet meme flame wars and the difference between crubs and curbs, I would be not having this conversation with you, Ian. I would be a millionaire in a private island.
Okay, two things in that case. One, do you know what squat trucks are?
Yeah,
And two, and I want you to elaborate your thoughts on these two things. And two, like I think that one of the things that sets most car culture apart that like makes me okay with it is like the fact that it is for the lulz, like inherently is a I don't know, it's a non-aggressive, it's like we know we're silly, we know you think we're silly, we're doing it anyway kind of a thing. That's like non-confrontational and like it really allows me to like I don't know, accept and even like relish other people's weird decisions. But like what I was saying before, like the only I was trying to think of like an example. The only thing I can think of now, like in automotive culture, and I'm sure if we thought about it long enough, I could come up with something else. But the only thing that really bugs me now is like things like rolling coal. Things that are meant to like just anger people. Like there's no
yeah.
way that you're just doing that for you.
Well, it's kind of like there's a couple things to unpack in my personal opinion. Like they all come from kind of a point of needing to either rebel against what they see as a status quo or do for the lulls. And to roll coal is obviously anti-environmentalist, but it's also like I'm an individual. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Don't tread on me.
Yeah.
And then stance is like I can do whatever I want with this car. Like especially when you see like slammed out supercars on the gram right now, that's like a flex to say, I know you want this stock and I'm ruining it. So what
Yeah.
do you feel like? And I think both come from a point of privilege, which all kind of expression kind of rolls back to, especially if you look at like fashion and like the repurposing of inappropriate things. Like
That's a good point.
and that's yeah, I mean it's weird because fashion and fashion and stancing don't necessarily hurt people in the short term, but there is like kind of this I mean, rolling coal absolutely hurts, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Um, but it's like they're using vehicles as a form of political and individual expression, even if they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I think if you asked a lot of people that were rolling coal on their Cummins, like,
Mhm.
hey, why are you doing this? And they'd just be like, well, I mean, I'd rather be a Cummins than a Strokin, and like that would be it. Like they don't understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's just in their brain they have that innate desire to just like show people they can.
I think that's probably one of the things that I like most about talking about this stuff is that I don't know, at least for my own satisfaction, it feels like I'm understanding like a pretty complicated social decision that is usually a little bit different than what you think people's like stated like choice, I mean stated reason for this choice is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. It it surprises me that not everyone is interested in this stuff, but I think very few people even give a fuck about this. You know, even wanting to consider these kind of things.
Well, I mean that's the bummer is like everybody's in the same circle, so it doesn't really matter like to anyone in the automotive community. There's always like the elitist that's like there's a right way to do things, and like street racing is bad,
Mhm.
and you should modify your car safely and in the barriers of the vehicle warranty, and and which is another form of privilege because
Yeah.
that's saying you can afford to go to a track and afford the nice parts and like trying to keep it a boys club like and then there's the other side that does whatever they want, and then
Yeah.
there's like but everybody from the outside looking in that just knows they have a Toyota is like all those people are bad. So there is a community problem when the person that's rolling down the street with their lightly modified Charger with Mopar parts is in the same circle as the Dodge rolling coal
Mhm.
with the cats removed. So
Yeah.
all
With Six
modifications are
Flags
bad.
hanging off the back.
Yeah, so all modifications are bad in the public eye. So that's why there is some like problems with the outside of with the extreme ways people can do things and act.
Yeah. I was thinking about it too. The other thing that does kind of give me pause is like wild and out situations. Like I've just seen so many like bystanders get caught in that stuff. I mean, and that kind of also feels like to me the times that I've been out on the freeway during like a big like Facebook ride out of motorcycles, especially in Chicago. Like that stuff got nuts.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, look at even like bicycle stuff with critical mass. Like
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh
every
shit, I haven't
hobby,
thought about that in forever.
every hobby has like a bent where people are doing irresponsible things as a group, and like that's just the way they're able to partake in expression. Like
Yeah,
it's like
that's fair.
skateboard. It's like skateboarding. Like everybody thought it was some outlaw thing until you give them a space that's accessible and you make a formal environment for them to
Mhm.
compete in and develop their skills. And then all of a sudden, I mean, you're still always going to have that like street. I know this is like, it's not a scarecrow argument. It's like kind of a similar metaphor.
Mhm.
You're still going to have those people that are sliding down rails and,
Right in front of banks and
bringing
stuff.
skateboarding back to the streets, but at least the options there.
Yeah.
And with cars, the closest racetracks are few and far between, hours away, expensive to get to, and you need licensing, you need to pass tech, you're going to break stuff, you need a tow vehicle. It's not nearly the same thing as having a skateboard or a BMX bike. So wilding out is just their way to blow off steam where like they couldn't otherwise. I don't see cities dedicated parking lots in their areas to like wilding out, which they absolutely could do.
I feel like there's a future for you as like a Vice reporter. You saying that right now just reminds me of a Vice episode I saw on this.
Every slightly clever white person thinks they're going to be a Vice reporter and have a podcast. I read some meme that was like starting a podcast is like 30-year-old equivalent of like eating healthier or something. It was some meme I'm totally forgetting.
I thought you didn't forget memes. They just stored in your database.
Some of them just fall out. I mean, the cool thing is like the odd thing is like these trends then get accepted back by car companies to build their own parts and accessories, and they inspire their advertising. So
can
like,
you think of a modern equivalent to that right now? Like the only thing I can think of is those little yellow tape things that they leave on the Dodge like Challengers when they're like unloading them.
Then you see a designer sketch that it's in there. I mean, I would say that Honda has always been slow to adapt it, but you see it in bursts. Like the NSX doesn't exist because it's a volume seller. It exists because there's a lot of nostalgia for it. I mean, the Honda Civic Type R is available in the same yellow color that everybody loved in the 2000s and everyone called that color ugly unless you were a JDM nerd like myself.
I would be thrilled if you replaced the Fiat with a Honda. Just FYI.
I don't think so. I'm going the pickup truck route like everybody else that used to be. A ricer. We're all going to farkle in a different way. I mean, honestly, I think coronavirus is going to crush most car and sports car volumes, but
yeah, I would be really curious.
Trucks finally outsold cars for the first time in years.
I saw that on Jalopnik today or yesterday. That's pretty crazy.
Makes sense. I mean, they don't lose value.
Yeah, I mean, I am thankful for that because I sold my 4Runner just before all this stuff happened. So
yeah, you would have still got the same money for the 4Runner. Everybody on Bring a Trailer would have been like, "Oh my god, let's pay too much for something from the '90s."
Did I tell you who I ended up selling it to?
No.
He's a retired long haul trucker, and he and his buddy own a machine shop in like mid to northern Michigan, and he's gonna just tear down the engine to nothing and like rebuild it completely. And I was just like, you are exactly who I was looking for.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that's sweet because most times, well, I mean, your truck's a perfect modern classic in many ways. Like they're starting to be appreciated, and like now I know I'm poor because all the cars I like are now going for like 5 and up figures. I'm like, oh god, I've been left behind.
Yeah, I've gotten lucky with the E30, and I got lucky again with the 4Runner that those bubbles didn't burst before I got rid of them.
And the Volvo. I mean, you should have held on to both, to be honest. They'd both be worth double in about 5 years.
I don't know. That Volvo was gone. That Volvo 940 was not doing anybody any favors.
Who bought that Volvo?
I don't even remember. It was like so long
ago. That
person
person was so boring that you don't even remember them.
I think that's actually true.
I would like the most responsible old vehicle you have.
It was definitely just a younger guy who I felt uncomfortable about how similar he looked to me. But in my head, I thought to myself, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about cars is that the ones that the ones you buy are if you do it right and you're buying something along the ways of how you're going to express yourself. When you go to sell it, you're going to basically get you back. So that's like the scary into the looking glass type stuff where it's like,
Yeah.
oh God, I am not unique.
I mean, I think it's only scary if you are dishonest with yourself about who you are.
I'm terrified of who's going to buy the Fiat from me. Probably some anarchist sociopath with an Italian accent, and I'm going to be here for it. But
Yeah, I can see that happening. Hey, I got a quick question for you, just because I just sketched that part on this car out. Why do stance guys think that those silly plastic things that cover the edge of your window are a good idea to add? That like also like people who own brand new Subarus like attach immediately? These things that hold.
well, the functional reason for those window things is to reduce buffeting when the window's down.
Wait, is it really? I
Um,
thought it was to keep rain out.
yeah, when it's like slightly cracked, but if you drive with the windows down, it reduces the wobble wobble too. So
Really?
because it
I didn't know that.
and I mean stance cars have a they're like a they're like a cornucopia of influences. So there's already that anarchist bent that we've talked about, like doing it for the lulls. But then there's like this appropriation of motorsport to like make it work. So like bolt on fenders and ground effects and hood
Mhm.
vents and fat wheels, all like BBSRSs. And then there's like the fresh aspect. So they know you think that they're ruining the car. So then they add like it's like the baseball cap sticker where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna add like the grandma stuff. I'm gonna add
Yeah.
some some window, reflectors, and I'm gonna keep the bumper things on from delivery, and I'm going to, keep my window sticker on, and or I'm
Mhm.
gonna, have it detailed to the absolute nines. So it's like a very interesting, at every step of the way they're playing with what you expect versus what they're doing,
Yeah.
which is a lot like sneaker culture, where it's
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, it's a sneaker, but it's super expensive and it's got like this military grade fabric.
Totally.
So like, yeah, stance. That's why the window louvers kind of work, but that's also why they're adding roof racks, even though they're never going to go off road. It's just like it's remix culture on four wheels.
Mhm. You saying that is also like interesting because like thinking about like how much privilege some people have to actually make a statement through their vehicle or fashion. It's also like interesting when you do have the ability to like make a statement to make a you know a non-PC statement in that case. Like it makes
Yeah,
it more powerful in that case to like
and I
spend
mean,
all this money
and
to
who
say something.
and who gets to say that statement is another thing, right? So
Mhm.
like if you can just pick and pull from different, I mean it is the same, it's very similar to fashion, a lot of respects is appropriation in that a lot of things that we think of as foreign, as exotic, are pushed through the lens of Asian culture.
Mhm.
And it's a two-way street. I mean, the US domestic market and Japanese domestic market was a two-way trade between us and Japan for a while. I mean, everybody was putting white turn signals on their Civics and sending their Ambers over to Japan.
Mhm.
So there's like an aspect of the other in a
Yeah.
lot of these.
Totally.
Um, but it's also like, yeah, where are you going to drive around that you're not going to get pulled over randomly? And if you do get pulled over randomly, is it going to go sideways? And that is all dependent on, a lot of the privilege things we're discussing.
Mhm. Yeah, not everybody gets to just throw on NPR like I do and just like, oh, hello, officer.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to blow vape cloud out of your Subaru, I
That
mean,
was
you're gonna have a bad time.
so I
I think
chose.
that's what your sketch needs is a giant vape cloud coming
Okay,
out
well, you
that
know what?
driver's side
No,
window.
here, right here. I don't feel like drawing a person, but guess what I'm gonna have hanging from the rear view mirror?
The tree signal or the rookie driver signal.
No, I'm gonna hang a vape pen off of it.
Oh yeah, I
I
like
don't
this
know.
as like vaguely Subaru Audi ish.
Yeah, I could have done like a Civic, but I don't know. at least here, when I think stance, I think like kind of Euro hatchback.
Yeah, I mean the Civic, R.I.P. Because I remember when that car was everything, and then I think me and everybody else when the EG when that OEK Civic came out, I think that's the right model nomenclature. In like the very early 2000s, and it was like, oh no.
There's a vape pen hanging from the front window. Here, I'm gonna put some stickers on here too. I see that I suggested to myself to put some in here. I had so many stickers on the truck when I got rid of it too, because I just stacked all of my city stickers from Chicago on top of each other. I don't know.
Why?
I don't because I'm not smart, and I was also like just the first one was really hard to take off, and so I just didn't want to. It's like going to CCS. Like you just leave all 4 years worth of like parking stickers on there, and it like says something. Like I felt at least when I was doing it cool that like okay, I've lived in Chicago for 5 years now, and like you can see that through the vehicle. So like I guess I was sending my own message in that way.
I mean, I don't put a lot of stickers on my car for some reason.
I mean, I try to avoid it because I think that they get faded super easily and they just look like you're lazy at the end of the day. But I don't know. Some of them I think can work. Like a really tasteful Garfield sticker on the back. I'm always there for that.
Family sticker.
Oh God, I do hate those. That's a personal pet peeve of me.
I'm here for it. I'm all about the Garfield and the lasagna.
Yeah. Okay, so am I missing anything? Like looking at this, am I missing any like stance hallmarks that would be perfect for this vehicle?
I mean, a lot of it's color, which is tough because it's like you need the neon pop. You need some like, I remember the Rusty Hood was big like 15 years ago, but it really didn't come back. Now it's all like flow yellows, and honestly, like early 2000s graphics are coming back in like a big way.
What if stance kids started really liking like RV graphics? Like those really swoopy like dolphin like just geometric forms that have been thrown into a blender.
I hope soon because I would die to see a beige STI with swoopy RV graphics, and I think that's the most stance thing you could do.
I
Like
think
you,
that's
you,
actually
you
not a terrible idea. I said that really jokingly initially, but
no, because as we talked about, like all the things that go into the stance, bruh. Like humor is a part of it, and there's nothing more purposely ironic than RV graphics on the side of your STI. Yeah, Moochie's got a point. You got to put a tow hook on there.
thanks, Dave. I'm glad you're here for this.
You got to have the tow hook in the wrong location though, and like not attached to anything. It's just dangling.
Here, is this appropriate? It's going out where there was a headlight initially. There, that should work.
Should have cords showing on the tires too, because ain't nobody got time to change tires.
Dave, I'm glad you're here. I see you're doing some kind of shop tour tomorrow. I'm excited to see that. Do you see him post that, Joe? I'm curious to see what Dave Mucci has put together in his garage.
Yeah, what is Dave Mucci putting together in his garage?
I don't know. I want to see his BMW build for sure, though.
Will is correct. First person with the Need for Speed Underground shout out gets the gold star. All the likes buttons.
God,
Never has been a more iconic video game soundtrack than Need for Speed Underground.
I still think of Riders on the Storm. Well, I still think of that game every time I hear Riders on the Storm, and then I expect Snoop Dogg to like jump in, but he never does.
The fact that EA Sports has not unleashed that soundtrack on Spotify is ridiculous.
That does seem like a missed opportunity.
It's all bangers. Also, why would you ever race to the Doors song "Riders on the Storm"?
I
It's not. It's not there. It doesn't get. It's not provocative.
Jim Morrison like swaying around gently always makes me think of street racing.
Well, then at SEMA last year, somebody built a recreation of that. It wasn't Underground. It was Most Wanted.
Oh,
That
the
silver
BMW?
BMW.
Yeah. I think that's the most recreated video game car in history, to be honest.
Hmm. What would be the most recreated video game car? Because I don't think so.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is like California. It's like Cruisin' USA. What's that arcade game?
There's Cruising USA. There's That's the best one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
That
that's
that
just a
had
Testarossa.
the 16-bit woman in a bikini with the so that was great when I was in 8th grade. That was a good game to play. One day I thought I would just have a beat to hell Ferrari and I was just gonna race across USA, but it just didn't pan out.
I mean, you got halfway there. You got a beat up Italian car sitting out back in
It
Milwaukee.
starts with an F. It's beat up, and it's just not a 348.
All right, here. I'll just do a quick color over this, and we'll get to the other one and bang that out real quick.
Also, add neon because I'm really hoping neon comes back.
Yeah. We can do that, of course.
Everybody knocked it.
So, what color were you saying that had that yellow? It was Honda's.
Yeah,
Here, I'll pull it up. Yellow Honda. What year?
I think it's Imperial Yellow. 1 second.
Yeah. Email it to me if you find it.
I know. That younger Joe would be so pissed that I forgot all my color codes.
Okay, Dave. In the meantime, what's the most popular video game car in history? Like oh, you know what? Okay, it's not a video game car. I was gonna say obviously, Fast and Furious Eclipse, but that is not a video game. Does not count. But that's definitely the most recreated car for sure, especially when we're talking about like this kind of culture stuff.
Phoenix Yellow. My bad.
Okay. Email it to me. Do you think yellow wheels would look stupid with, orange wheels? God, gold wheels
I
would look
mean, it
stupid with
does,
the
but
yellow
that's
car?
the thing. If you're looking stupid, you're doing it right with stance. So
Fair.
anything goes. It's freeing.
Yeah, I think Phoenix yellow would be the way to go. I don't know. I meant for this to be an Audi A3 now that I'm looking at the grill, but I think it can be agnostic. It can be whatever.
We have we have a video game stance car right now. Like if this was in Grand Theft Auto, it'd be like, okay.
Yeah, people would be on board for it, I think. I don't know. These two, when we start talking about just cars that people love to hate, these are the two that obviously, I mean, we've only been talking about this one, but this one and the next one I think are pretty obvious, and therefore very entertaining for me to try to sketch.
Yeah,
I
the
think.
Suzuki Escudo should be the most recreated car.
Oh, good
I
point.
don't think there's ever been a larger fall from grace from a car company than Suzuki in the last. Like they went from, or maybe Mitsubishi. Both those brands went from hero to zero real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I think Mitsubishi's decline started in Too Fast, Too Furious with that stupid Eclipse convertible custom.
Yeah, they really hung their hat on the wrong car.
I remember when I got my Super Street in the mail, and they're like, "We have an exclusive on the new Too Fast, Too Furious," and I'm like, "Oh, sick! Is that an Evo?" They're like, "Nah, it's a regular Lancer Sport." Oh man, what is that? The new Eclipse? Oh my god, what did you do? Yeah, it's fatter, it's slower, and bad. And I was like, "Ugh, never gonna buy one."
Yeah, I mean, like, what would the world look like if instead of the Eclipse they had like taken like an older Evo, like Evolution? That would have been so much better. That was my favorite car for the longest time. And when I was a 15-year-old idiot, I thought like because in Gran Turismo, the Evo and like a Subaru STI were like the cheapest cars you could get. I thought to myself, yeah, you can afford that. My
Well, the
dad
problem is, yeah,
laughed
like
at me.
Gran Turismo introduced to all of us, like it's like giving a 5-year-old a sommelier class. We're like, I know what all the good things are, and I can't even afford it. So now, when I was like 13, was like, ugh, this Eclipse is not for me. Like, I think if they continued making the Eclipse how it was, it still would have ended up in the same spot. We would have just been a lot less pissed off when we got there.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I wish I had known you at 15 because I
I'm
think that your
I'm the
opinions were
same
just as
person.
strong and much less like founded in anything relatably um, possible.
I'm the same person I was at 15 for the most part. I'm actually I'm a little bit matured. Like I do accept more takes, but
I think it's more like you're a serial killer who's like learned all the tricks and like how not to turn his hand and like you move along normal people without getting caught, but deep down it's there.
it's basically on the surface. Like right under the surface.
Yeah, real like just surface level. Like if you took a little bit of sandpaper, it would just come through immediately. Yeah, I think yellow with gold wheels is the way to go.
Or white, just obnoxiously white like they used to be.
You know what? That might actually look pretty good. Yeah, I think your
Do
white wheels
do a
make
little
me look of
do a jaunty statement spoke,
mhm.
or just chrome.
Ugh, no.
I'm
I
gonna I'm
draw the
gonna make
line.
you render chrome live because this is now a game of this is now Saw the movie.
I think something that would be really offensive is yellow amber lights with a yellow paint scheme. Or maybe purple? Would purple be appropriate?
Perp, yeah, perp would be way more appropriate.
Okay. Let's get
Honestly, this car needs like a '90s Lakers graphic on the side.
yeah, this you know what? This is feeling pretty LA right now. Yeah, for sure somebody was driving this thing around in LA.
Should have like a parking ticket taped to the side window.
All right, let's do it. That's another thing that Chris and I were just talking about things we missed from Chicago. Parking tickets, not one of them. Definitely not. Just one of those nice big orange envelopes waiting for you.
Just big money inside.
All of your misdeeds listed. What was the worst parking ticket you ever got when you were living in Chicago?
I got towed out of a lot because I was visiting a friend and I'm like, "Can I park here?" It says don't park here, and they said, "Yeah, you can park there." And then I like looked out the window and my car was gone, and I'm like, "I obviously couldn't park there without a permit." They're like, "Well, let's just go pull it out of the lot," and it was like in Wrigleyville to some other neighborhood like 40 minutes away. It was
Yep.
like 2 a.m.
Yep.
and I'm can I pull the car out? And they're like, "It's $150." I'm like, that's like $1 million.
Oh, I'm sorry, 150 bucks. You know how much it is to pull your bike out because they need a special truck to tow a motorcycle?
How did you get your motorcycle towed?
Because what I think happened is that somebody tried to steal it, and because it was locked, they stopped trying to yank it down the street because it was parked with the back tire up against the curb, like I normally do. And in the photo, when the cop came by and then called the tow truck, my bike was sitting like in front of somebody else's driveway, like a business's driveway. It just like somebody had just rolled up, sat it there, and then walked away like an asshole. And so that's why it was towed and it costs $500 to get it out of the impound.
Oh my god!
And
I've
then,
definitely never. I've never gotten a motorcycle towed.
well, the shitty thing on top of that was that they lifted it up with like two ropes wrapped around the bike, and because it was a naked bike, it was the the Ducati, they kinked up the oil line, and so at some point when I was riding home, the oil just started coming out of the line and all over my leg, all over my boot cover.
The tow truck company didn't do that. It was just leaky. But you are. I want to. If I had artistic skills, I would render the ultimate Ian Galvin motorcycle because
I would
it
pay you $1,000 to show me what I want because I
a
have no
thousand
idea.
dollars. You
Yes.
know my hourly rate. I am expensive. I'm on legal hourly rates.
I do know your hourly rate, and $1,000 is going to get me a lifetime of work out of you.
Big renderings. Not a lot of quality, but lots of quick hot sketches.
The biggest renderings, the nicest renderings.
The best rendering.
What do you think my ideal motorcycle looks like? Because I have no idea. I know that I have terrible understanding of my own taste.
We definitely know it doesn't have a fairing, because I don't think you've ever purchased a motorcycle with a fairing, correct?
Funny thing, I really want to put a Thruxton fairing on the Speed Triple. I'm thinking.
That's the dumbest idea.
Why?
Because
it's not dumb. It would look dope.
It is dumb.
It's different. Why?
Because it does.
It's got clip-ons.
Fairing doesn't even work as like an actual fairing. It's just like
I guarantee
you basically
that's the one thing
you have
it
a
does
naked
do.
bike that looks worse.
Where do you feel wind blast? On your head. That's why if I have a fairing, it'll keep it off my head. The rest of my body doesn't matter. And I like the fact, like my own personal fuck you to the system is going faster than track bikes in the intermediate class on my fat Triumph.
Yeah, but I don't feel the wind at all because the wind never bothered me anyway. I'm kind of like free and breezy, as they say. But I would say like you just I don't know, like a Speed Triple's supposed to be naked, and you could put a fairing on it, but it would just you still have the same fuck you aspects without it. You could just put like a gnarly, speed screen on it. It wouldn't be great. You might as well just buy an adventure bike at that point. That's all I'm saying. Turn it in. It's all over.
Yeah. I mean, I've been pretty okay with all of this, like, stay-at-home stuff, but it is real hard not to think about going to the racetrack.
I mean, you could just break in. What would Need for Speed Underground say about that? They would say fucking...
You remember the family that runs that track, right? I guarantee you they have access to firearms.
I guarantee you they would open it for you if you asked nicely, and they're like, just let me have 2 hours for some lulls time.
I think maybe if I showed up with a handle of Jack.
They definitely seem like a Jack Daniels or a Peppermint Schnapps family. Maybe Jaeger.
Hey, I think this turned out pretty good, personally. Your color choices really made it.
It definitely needs like a wall of stickers that say like inappropriate things.
Where would they be put? Like on the front bumper, or like just?
I mean, you could do like a fender takeover, and you could do a side skirt takeover, and.
Is that what that's called, the takeover?
No, that's just my own personal stupid name.
I like it. I feel like it should stick.
Needs to be. I've like whenever I'm on my explore page on Instagram, I feel bad about who Instagram knows I am because I'm like, oh, it's just a bunch of irreverent Ricer memes.
Yeah.
And TikToks and motorcycles, so not a whole lot of depth. And
yeah, but who goes on Instagram for depth? Are you trying to like figure out what Neil deGrasse Tyson cares about a subject?
True. No one's on Instagram for learning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like sticking your head in the void and just letting pictures run over you.
I forgot one last thing. I've got this little light down here. Yeah, this actually turned out better than I expected. I'm happy with this little weirdo.
That's what you need is a little weirdo written across the windshield, like covering the whole thing, like Ricky Bobby. I do like Fig Newtons, but this is irresponsible.
So Chris and I work together from the office now here at the ranch, and I just had stepbrothers playing the other day, and I was just really happy that she didn't disown me at that point, and I was pleasantly surprised that that movie still holds up.
It's all solid. That era of Will Ferrell is the best of all time.
Yep, agreed. All right,
It's
here, let's.
almost they should make an ESPN 60 for 60 on Will Ferrell's mid 2000 run.
You're losing me with the sports references, bud. You know who you're
Oh,
talking
I
to here.
forgot you don't sports ball, but you're liking that ESPN documentary, so you understand what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Getting ready to be a new father, I'm curious, like, what other dads are gonna think when it's like, oh, you guys playing little league? Nope.
I'm
But
sure your kid is gonna rebel hard, and then it's gonna be like my kid's gonna rebel hard, and he's gonna be like he or she is going to be very thoughtful, and your kid's gonna be rebel real hard and be more like me, and it's gonna be very difficult for
that's what
everyone to stomach.
for in the summer we'll swap.
We should kid swap, be like, hey, you're going to the Galvins. It's like,
Those
oh
are
man,
good.
I hate me as an older person. Like, yeah, we better.
Those are good weeks when you just get sent to like your cousin's house because in retrospect your parents just needed time away from you.
I never did. I just like the summers were just riding around the block on a bicycle over and over and over again, playing a lot of inappropriate PlayStation racing games, espousing about with like a what was that horrible Mitsubishi? Ugh.
What game are you thinking?
Gran Turismo #1. It was the front wheel drive sports car, which sucked, and it was super slow. But you needed it for all the license tests for racing.
Oh yeah. Are you sure it was a Mitsubishi? I feel like
I'm
it could.
I'm positive. Positive. Oh, I found a picture of it. God bless Google.
What is it?
It is the FTO.
Oh yeah, it's the Japanese version of the Eclipse.
No, it was worse.
Oh.
Japan had the Eclipse. The FTO was front wheel drive. It had a really anemic motor. It looked like a Supra put through a dryer at too high a temperature.
Did it have kind of a Tiburon look to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what
And
you're
then I
talking about.
remember hours trying to like go through cones and oh, you didn't pass. Like, this is bullshit.
You know what? I feel like license tests should be that hard in real life. Did you hear that Georgia just passed all of its like pending learner permits into licenses without actually doing the driver's test?
I'm here for it because I've seen how people drive even if they pass their learner's permits, and I don't think much is going to matter. They'll just be like, well, I'm going to be just as bad as driver because everybody in Georgia is going to be driving one of these bad boys that you're drawing. So it's like, have at it.
How do you think you're going to be teaching a kid how to drive? I think I'm going to be good, but I have to like preface that by saying that I thought I was going to be good teaching Kristen how to drive a stick, and I get real like just overly supportive, like like that camp counselor that's just like, come on, you can do this backflip, just bend your knees a little bit more, and like you just want to punch them in the fucking face because they're being like too condescending. I think I get stuck in that zone too easily.
I mean, I don't know, if I had to like fast forward 16 years and my kid's going to be driving something,
Yeah.
odds are it's probably going to be automatic or electric and super easy to do. So I'm really just going to be that curmudgeon that was somehow taught their kid to, in like the 1950s, that learned to drive on a Model T and is teaching my kid how to drive some like very cushy land yacht. Like back in my day, you had to crank it and you'd break your arm if you weren't lucky.
That's
My kid's
actually a
going to
good
be like,
point.
oh my God, shut up.
That makes
This
me
car
really
drives
sad to think
itself.
about because like I think in general most of the things that like the back in my day statements like I disagree with all of them. Like that no, everything is better now. But I really think that like it would suck if like just personal transportation is just like and it probably will be less important to the next generation. I mean, a lot of the What's the generation that comes after us, after millennials? Z?
Z.
Yeah. Like they don't give a shit about owning a car, really.
They will. Everybody will. Everyone said like no one. I think cars are going to be different, but it's not going to like. I think we're going to look. Everyone thought we would be driving flying cars by now. So
Yeah, where's that
18,000 cars.
Elon?
18,000 cars. Like the only thing Car and Driver has gotten right in the last like 30 years of hot takes is there is finally a mid-engine Corvette.
Yeah, I think they probably had to pop open a couple of bottles when that actually happened. Wrap it up, boys. We're done here.
Oof. What are they going to do next? Probably I think they're going to do like Corvette returns to front engined. It's the next hot take.
Which vehicle is going to be turned into a pickup truck?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all my they're about 10 years too late, but like all the Car and Driver Road and Track Motor Trend hot takes came true. We have a new Supra, we have a new NSX, we have a new Corvette.
The Mustang has been turned into a electric crossover.
Yep, Mustang is turned into an electric crossover. Automatic driving is pretty close, and nobody's happy about it. Everybody's complaining.
I think that's the one thing that they didn't get right is that everything sucks.
I mean, there still isn't a new RX-7, so that's what I'm still personally pissed about.
Hey, real quick question, design query right now. Is the is the shitty version of a lifted truck, which is what I'm drawing here, they don't have they've got chrome wheels, right? Like we're not doing thread
Yep.
lockers here, right?
Nope, we're not doing fake bead locks or anything like that. We are built
Bead
so
locks, not
there are multiple iterations of the Brodozer, which are it's a culturally fascinating investigation because the Brodozer in Southern California is different than the Brodozer in Texas, which is different than the Brodozer in the Southeast.
You know, I
And then,
actually dislike the California one the most, I think, now that you say that. I didn't even think
yeah,
about the fact that it's
California
regional.
Brodozer is absolutely the worst. Like it's a lot like pizza. Like the Southeast has the best Brodozer, and the West Coast screwed it up.
Do you think that's because the south like a southern bulldozer is more true to like what a lifted truck was meant to be?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just got more style. Like they're not afraid to be kind of dumb with it in a way that like Southern Californians are very worried.
Yeah. They're not so self-aware,
I
like
think
in a
they're
bad
more
way.
self-aware that they know
Oh yeah,
like
no, you're right, you're right. I said that the wrong way.
I want a bump. I want an entirely chrome undercarriage. I want street tires, and I want 20s. And I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna be in a Florida Georgia Line music video, and no one can tell me what to do. And I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew,
Yeah,
and I'm
there's
gonna scissor
something
kick the back of your head.
yeah, there's something just a little bit more adorable about that, as opposed to the guy wearing like the Nixon watch and Nixon sunglasses and the trucker hat and a SoCal like lifted with bed liner trying to look tough.
Yeah, I mean they're cousins. It's like but they're not family. I don't know what the animal equivalent would be. Maybe like a gorilla versus a chimpanzee.
I thought you were gonna say like a squirrel and a chipmunk.
Kinda.
I don't know.
I
I
mean, you're like SEMA is crawling with these trucks, which is the scariest part about going to SEMA.
Yeah, that was the one you went to, right? I remember you
Yeah,
showing us your play-by-play.
I mean, you realize when you go to SEMA and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna see all this dope shit. I'm gonna see race cars and GTRs and carbon fiber and titanium, and it's like, nope, it's 18,000 acres of bro trucks sprinkled in with 60s muscle cars, and you really realize what the aftermarket makes money on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like it's I mean it's why trucks make more money. There's just like more sheet metal to press to sell this part.
Well, there's just more of them out there too. Like there's only a couple 10,000, couple dozen thousand STIs per year, but
Yeah.
there's a couple 100,000 F-150s that need a Punisher logo for the transfer case.
I wondered if you were gonna pick up on that.
I sure did.
I think the thing that bothers me personally about lifted trucks is how spindly most of the suspensions are. I mean, they provide great fail videos, but like just seeing them drive around, it's just like I don't know, it assaults my eyes their inability to grasp like proportion.
Yeah, but if you see the people that pop out of them, they also skipped leg day, so that it always matches.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that one.
A lot of small calves and spindles.
I do love a good compilation video of these things like jumping over a very small, modest rise in a hill and just watching it pancake itself.
I'd like seeing them like 20 in a row though in like a city because it's like that is cool. Like I look back and I was like, if you do a blind test with 5 year olds and you said, hey, you can have one of these and be as loud as you want, or you could have this very subtle German sports sedan. 95% of 5 year olds would be like, hell yeah, I want the loud truck.
Yeah, I think that that's what made me think again the lifted Forerunner was going to be the good idea. That little kid inside me was just like giggling quietly because he knew he was getting his way and trying not to look too happy.
But then adult versions like, oh man, it's so loud, I'm getting terrible gas mileage.
I could do, I
You
think,
weren't you weren't committed to
130
the bit.
miles to a gallon.
You could what?
Maybe. 130 miles, I'm sorry, to the tank.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, the thing about bro dozers that I appreciate is they are committed to the bit. They drive them every day. They drive them everywhere. They break stuff all the time. Like there's really not any excuses, and they will never admit that they made a bad choice.
Yeah, there's definitely a hard-headedness that comes along with it, I feel like.
I think they just found what they like. It's like anyone that likes Kid Rock is like, yeah, I really like Kid Rock. You're like, well, why? Well, why not? And that conversation's pretty much over.
He's a
And
pioneer
you,
of his generation.
yeah, usually yelled across a bar at like 12 a.m. with like a really like a Toby Keith's "I love this bar," and you're like, I'm just in the wrong place.
And then I look over the bar and I see you and you nod your trucker cap at me as you knock back your fifth natty light in the last half hour.
That skid plate looks entirely too functional for a bro dozer.
No,
I
but
think you
look,
should.
did you see the small little bolt that I put in the back that's actually holding that up?
I think it should be slightly crooked, showing that it's sagging already.
Okay, I can do that.
I do enjoy watching like the Diesel Brothers though.
Is that a show or are you talking about a group of people you call Diesel
No,
Brothers?
that's an actual show.
Well, I need something new because I tried watching Gotham Garage or whatever that show was on Netflix and I had to stop.
Rust was it Rust to Riches?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty painful.
It's no good. It's trash. Like at
I
first I was
mean,
excited, but
that's the thing. That's what we're talking about with this stereotype brodos. The like car shows on TV aren't meant for us because there's 12 people that would watch them.
you know which one I really liked though was Rust Valley Restorers.
No, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're few and far between, but like that had just enough like drama in it that like somebody who doesn't care about cars would still watch it. But like they did some subtle things and just flipped cars that were worth money.
I still like Roadkill.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
You've never seen Roadkill?
I don't think so.
Oh my god, it's the best. It's
Okay.
from
Well,
the
I
editor.
now Chris and I have something to binge. Thank you.
It's from the editors of Hot Rod. They do a bunch of like cheap challenges with inappropriate hot rods, and it's the best show ever. Like my favorite episode is when they had a Lamborghini Aventador and they had a I forget if it was like a 32 Ford or
Hmm.
something like that, but it was so good. And the guy was so unimpressed by this Lamborghini. The editor was so unimpressed by the Lamborghini. I'm like, yeah, this is the shit.
Hey, real quick, give me a what kind of hood ornament is this truck gonna have on it?
It has truck nuts. I wouldn't say it's an ornament as much as a It's got a drag on the ground.
Okay, do you want me to draw truck nuts hanging off of the hood all the way down to the bottom? Because that's kind
No,
of
it's
looks
got to
like.
hang off the back. I don't think
Okay.
there's anything hanging off the front. Um,
Here,
maybe
let me work my way to the back, and I'm gonna make sure that I draw it in a way that you can see through the chassis, which won't be hard because there's a lot of air gap on this stupid thing. But we're gonna have some nuts hanging off of it for sure. The other one I really liked was that one. Was it called Built Not Bought or something? Like they get like five like builders and then have them race some rich person that has a supercar. Do you know what I'm talking about?
no, I've never heard of that one.
It's really good. It's on Netflix. It's actually I've watched 2 seasons of it, like 2 whole seasons. But they get like five just normal people that like build and race cars, mostly like drag racers. Um, and then they pair them up with one supercar, and they do I don't know. Each season is like maybe 8 episodes, and the very last one is the winner of all eight, all racing each other in like Death Valley or something.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, and there was the guy with the. He was like the most Was it a Viper?
Um, they were
He was
all
like the most
stereotypes.
stereotypical faux rich guy from Arizona.
Yeah, they were all like that. The only like interesting one, there was this woman who like sold like ran a car shop and she had like multiple Ferraris and was actually kind of a badass. But all the other rich guys were like they were like, turn up your asshole level to like 11.
Well, you got to do the tough guy hard part. Got to do it. Got to be popped and locked.
Okay, here's the hitch. We got find a way to hang just a serious pair of nuts off the back. Yeah, it's there. We're good. We're safe. The design is saved.
Oh boy.
You know what? The next time we come to Milwaukee when all this silliness stops, I'm gonna find a way to hide a set of truck nuts on one of your bikes.
I mean, it's already installed, so you better find a different location.
Was there one in the catalog that just really caught your eye?
There's, I mean, I just collect them as I go throughout the United States. Everybody has a different flavor.
Yeah, truck nuts hanging off the winch in the back, or the hitch in the back. I gotta say, I really didn't realize that there was a cultural difference between these lifted trucks, and you just saying that like kind of clicked in my head, like the different styles that I've actually noticed.
Yeah, it's really cool because there is a. I mean, it's the same thing we talk about import cars, and there is just as much variety in lifted trucks and lowriders and all these other genres we personally probably don't pay as much of attention to, and that's kind of what always kept me interested in being like, what's your motivation to build this? And the truck thing is usually it's a pretty shallow pool, even when I try really hard. But
You mean
I,
genetically or like thought process
no,
wise?
no, that's basically just a stereotype. Just like I want to be big and I want to be tall and I want to be cool, and it's like, all right, like more power to you. Like
Okay, where do
sounds good.
squat trucks fall within that then?
Squat trucks are the stance of the bro truck community.
Is
So
it?
it's like style over substance. Everybody's going tall. I'm gonna go low in the back, high in the front, and I'm gonna bump.
It does seem like they have like a slightly more of a sense of humor about what they're doing. That was my first take, but I didn't know if it was like, is it related to like some performance thing, like you know how some off-road like pre-runner trophy
Yeah,
trucks?
I mean it's the trophy truck stance
Is
because
it?
when you see it, yeah, when you see it, it's exactly why fender flares are a thing. Like, oh
Okay.
yeah, race cars have fender flares. Trophy trucks kind of sit kind of squatted. So they just took that and ran with it, and now you have squat trucks. And then you have, I wouldn't be surprised if like, some designer at Ford's like, yeah, we got to add some squat to the back end of this F-150. Raptor, because like that's what these kids were into back in the day, and we're gonna be like, oh my god.
I can't wait for that day, personally.
I enjoy that you chose a single cab. I mean, truly, the ballers have a double cab,
Do they? I mean, we
but
can stretch this thing out. Do you know how Photoshop works? I can.
I don't. That's why you're doing this and not me.
Oh,
I think Photoshop is witchcraft, and I'm bringing all this evidence against you to burn you at the stake as a
stretch the
witch.
stitch.
I would stretch it out because if you're gonna be a baller bro dozer, you need double cab, long bed.
There. You can bring the whole family along. The dog, too.
Yeah,
There we go. It's stretched.
witchcraft, total witchcraft.
Photoshop is my best friend. I got some other fun projects
See,
I can
now
share
it's
with you later.
properly obnoxiously long. It fits in no space. It is
Yeah, I
impossible to
agree.
drive in an urban scenario. So it's now you're talking. This is the ideal bro dozer.
I think the thing that I like the most about the silly ones is the fact that there's so much air in between the wheels and the body. That's another thing that I find very entertaining. It's just like if you leaned up against it, I feel like it would fall over.
Well, that's because they're not really thinking about proportion, and I wonder if people that like lifted trucks are even offended by the term bro dozer, or they find it fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It does kind of seem like it could go either way, like derogatory or
Like, 'cause we're not
endearing.
trying to be derogatory, but it's like, is that the right term?
Yeah. I don't think so. I think it's what somebody from the outside calls somebody on the inside, personally. Because I think they all just talk about lift. And I tried, okay, so I spent an inordinate amount of time on a squat truck Facebook page, and they were using words that I've never heard of to explain like how good their truck looked. Like, that moment when you realize culturally you're out of the loop, like when there's a new TikTok dance or somebody's like, using a new word to describe something. They're like, oh, I've never heard of that, but I'm gonna out myself as being 34 years old if I say something.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Well, because like nobody I mean, that's the thing though. When you go to like a newsstand, it's surprising because we might not know the lingo, but we're obviously wrong because every time you go to a newsstand at an airport, there's like 4 lifted truck magazines, and there are 0 import car magazines or
4
like
lifted truck magazines, 3 handgun magazines, which has always struck me as the
3
weirdest thing to be able to buy in an airport. If somebody
at
bought
least
that and was reading
at
it on the
least
airport
at
next,
least 10 at least 10 handgun magazines.
like why? Like, okay, we don't even have to get into like the gun control debate, but the fact that you can buy those magazines at an airport and just be like openly reading it, like if you bought like, let's say you do a social experiment, you go into an airport, you don't have like a ticket or
Also,
anything.
this needs to be an LED light bar, not separate
Oh, okay,
lights
sorry, apologies.
for the stees. It
Thank you
needs to.
for correcting me.
It also needs to be completely misaligned and just like blind the mirror of whoever's in front of them.
All right.
But yeah, like I
But don't you think it would be a funny, like, just a social experiment to go into an airport, no ticket or anything, but just, go through security if that's possible, buy like 6 gun magazines and like have them spread out around you and just be reading them quietly and talking to yourself? Like
I
some,
think I think the thing you're missing is are you wearing a trench coat or not?
oh, for
And
sure.
see,
Yeah.
that's where it's like, yeah, this guy's scary.
Trench
This person
coat with
doesn't look good.
like a tank top, like a dirty white tank top underneath.
Yeah, like I would say that's terrifying
And
because we don't.
an oily paper bag that you reach into occasionally and pull out something like loose pancakes or something.
Well, now I feel personally attacked. So that means people don't travel with loose pancakes in their bags.
I'm totally stealing that from a there's some stand-up comedian that talked about a guy he ran into that was eating loose pancakes out of a paper bag on an airplane, and that has stuck with me for years because I heard that a long time ago.
I did watch the Jerry Seinfeld special, and I will say hasn't changed in a bit.
What? There's a documentary about.
No, got a new stand-up special.
Oh, really?
Yeah, jumps out of a helicopter. Like it's a whole thing.
He is like a time capsule for the late '90s because everything does feel exactly the same.
I feel like it's the same way that people watch like Bob Hope in the 70s.
Yeah, I could see that. What does a brodozer have hanging off of his rearview mirror?
Panties.
This is gonna be a song.
I don't think there's anything hanging off a mirror. Maybe like a CD still. Like,
Well, it's too late. I already drew a song, so we're here
here's the
now.
thing. The benefit of bro dozers is because everyone else is looking up. You never know what's hanging from that mirror. That's
Here,
that's a mysterious world to me unless I had a bro dozer.
I just threw a couple of CDs up on their dash to easily reach to throw it into the player.
Maybe. I mean, they all bump. They probably got like the best stereo systems you can get with like streaming everything. But yeah, I don't. Maybe like they all have, you know, some really heady novel hanging off their mirrors that we don't know about because we're just too short. I can't even tell you if I've ever seen the inside of a brodozer.
They're just very nicely appointed, very
Yeah,
tasteful.
it could be like a Gulfstream jet for all I know.
There. I'm. Oh shit! I almost forgot the front grill. I'm almost done. I did this one in record time. Joe, I gotta say, I really appreciate your takes on this. I feel like last time I learned a lot sketching while you were elucidating about your thoughts about certain things, and you continue to impress.
I'm glad. I continue to deliver. I don't know about impress, but you definitely need like a giant chrome Ford logo or Dodge or whatever truck logo right off the bat.
Okay, fair enough. I have the perfect one. I think there was a YouTube video not a long time ago, but it was like the Ford 1500 or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, I loved that one. Here, and then they also always have like extra chrome emblems like built in. It's like the special Laramie Turbo Rancher edition. That's
Yeah,
kind of
well,
mixing genres though
you're
a little
buying
bit.
like four brands. Ford pays licensing. There is an actual King Ranch.
Wait,
Like
like a place?
there's a place that's an actual place in Texas, and
They must be rolling in it.
there is a licensing payment to use the King Ranch brand and trademark.
Oh yeah, Dave's got a good point. A monster flag would be good. What
Yeah,
do you think
for
the
sure.
drink of choice is? Monster Energy?
You got to get with the claw. I honestly though, this is 2020, so maybe it is a White Claw flag.
Here, let me pull up their logo. I want to get this right.
It
That's a
is
good
more
idea.
difficult than the Monster logo.
Yeah, but we don't do things because they are easy. We do them because they are worth doing.
Yeah, it's a wave.
Oh yeah, I see.
It's like you're kind of a jaunty high seas captain. I
Mhm.
found this thing on Google Images that says White Claw wasted with the logo, and I feel like it'd be the perfect truck decal for the rear window. That'd be sick.
Yeah, hit me with it. Send it along.
It's on Etsy, so you know it's good. There's some Rebecca sitting in her sorority at Alpha Nu being like, oh my God.
I think this has gone in a very fresh direction that's really going to give some people some ideas.
It's provocative. Gets going.
It's what the kids want. No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. Yeah, we'll go with 2 flags, I think. One's not enough.
2 flags, 2 chains. It's only natural.
Yeah, I think this is solid. You have yet again delivered on some serious vehicle solutions.
Join us next time.
I like this idea still a lot of just designing the things that most people dislike.
But also people like it. And I think that's the cool part is
yeah, that's true. I think maybe I'm being a little overly dismissive a lot of the time. I think I carry a lot of, I don't know, I think of myself as a pretty unjudgmental person, but when it comes to, I don't know if it's style or design based things, I hear myself get pretty judgmental pretty quickly when it's an open space like this.
I mean, I'm always jealous because I'm like, man, I spend hours searching for the right exhaust that has the right bend, that won't scrape, that won't do this and that. I go to a forum and and I'm still not happy when I get to the end of the rainbow. There's people out there that just do what they want to do. They don't care about anything and they're happy as a clam every day. Whereas I'm constantly thinking about what I should be doing differently. So really, I think we need to look inward and realize we're doing it wrong.
I mean, I feel do you feel judged by other people when you make your decisions?
No, I'm my own harshest critic, and I hate it because I'm
I see.
always thinking about what we're doing differently.
Yeah. Because
The
that
bro
makes me
truck man
curious.
is he's stoked. He or she.
They are psyched. I'm happy with this illustration. Actually, both of these turned out pretty decently.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to color this one in. Let's close up at 9. So we got 10 minutes. But what color should this be? You have any opinions on this thing?
It should be white.
Yeah. Okay.
This
This is what I was
and
kind of
chrome
thinking.
and bold because the White Claw branding. They got a lot of different flavors, so you can bring in a flavor accent, but I think it should be crispy fresh.
All right, that's fair. Do you think the truck nuts should be skin colored or no? Too much?
I mean, white truck, so maybe gold.
Yeah. Just
Pick an accent color.
Big pair of brass nuts hanging off the back.
Yeah, brass doesn't pick up the light in the same way gold does. Is there a way to render a Swarovski crystal truck nut?
Yeah, I think there is. I'm gonna have to do another tutorial for that, but it is something that is worth covering, and I think it's something that's gonna help everybody in their path towards artistic excellence.
All right, sounds good, man.
All right. I appreciate you helping me out with this thing.
No worries. Until next time.
All right, I'm gonna post both of these Bad Jacksons tonight, and I'll tag you on them as co-creator.
Word. Talk soon, man.
See ya.
Bye.
And to everyone else still hanging out, I hope you enjoyed these silly vehicles and this very wandering, strange conversation about automotive subcultures. I think there's a good chance that Joe and I will do something like this again. If you guys have any suggestions about topics to cover, cars people love to hate, I think was the first thing that came to mind, but I'm open to other stuff. So if you enjoyed this or have any thoughts about what you'd like to just see, whether it's design wise or just because you think it'll be funny, hit me up on Instagram or add it here in the comments. Other than that, I think between this Brodozer and this Stance Boy, we will call it quits. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.